Okay. Good. Lovely. So, our usual start. Rubbing your hands together. Tapping over your face. And over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder. Then on the other side. Upper part of your chest. And your belly. And then your legs. Sit back in the recliner position. Let me just turn the start up. I don't know. Right. Yeah, that's better. So, sitting back, the tapping exercises, obviously they do prepare you a little bit, physically, but also you'll find, I think, that they actually help with this awareness of what's going on. You can feel, the striking on your body. So this whole aspect of Tai Chi that involves bringing your attention into your body is really aided by that. It makes it a very valuable practice, I think. Simple to remember, simple to do, quick to do. And then just keeping that awareness as you sit back, letting your weight drop back into the chair. Feeling the support from the chair beginning to it seems to sort of increase as you settle back, as you allow the chair to support you, become more confident in it. Feeling of any tightness, stiffness in your body, just beginning to sort of melt away, to dissolve a little bit in shoulders, ribs, and so on. So noticing the effect on your breathing, circulation. We sometimes get a bit of a tingling feeling in our fingers because as you settle down, the circulation improves, and as you just loosen some of the tightness in your fingers, your peripheral circulation, the tiny blood vessels in your fingers improves. So all these little things are there to be noticed, to be noted. Things that we can let our attention rest in. And then coming to the upright position, as always, looking for a place in the chair that is useful to you, comfortable to you. And if that means having a little bit of support for the lower part of your back, or even having a cushion behind you, that's good. Remember, in the same way as we felt the support of the chair starting to seemingly to increase as we became aware of it, so the support from your feet and your hips, mostly your hips and buttocks, but some of your weight in your legs. And again, that can require a little bit of shuffling forwards and backwards. Don't expect to just sort of find it straight away. General kind of downward movement, the rib cage hanging, your shoulders dropping, and of course your hips sinking into the chair. The same sort of idea of a settling downward of your thoughts. There's a certain amount of quietness, a certain amount of space in body and mind that we can begin to work within. And then just slowly turning your head. And as you turn, just notice the side that you're turning away from. There's this opening feeling. Try not to lift your shoulders or tilt your head as you do this. And then at a given point, that just begins to contract and pull you back the other way. And then hands in front of your shoulders. Just place your fingers here. And those of you here last time I talked about this space, this valley between the shoulders, and just feel the movement there as your elbows go back again, that opening and then the contraction. Going forwards. Hands down to your sides, arms out a little bit. And see if you can just feel again that same movement in chest and upper back. Both for its own sake, but also in terms of training your attention into noticing these small changes. And in the end, you should be noticing far more than I'm suggesting. You know, it's about observing what's happening within your body, bringing those changes into the whole movement through observation and awareness, and what we would call in Tai Chi intent. So for instance, eventually, say with this one, if you couldn't do this with one arm, actually rather than thinking of your arm moving, get your arm in this position, and then just think, well, okay, you want that area to contract, and feel what that does. There is still the idea of the exercise in the back of your mind as you do this. You do one hand or both hands, you can put a finger there if you like, and just feel the movement. So we learn to change from moving the arms and feeling what's happening in the body as a result, to the opposite way around, to working with those increasingly familiar changes within our body, and then building them up to the bigger movements. And winding around. And all of this encourages that sense of the whole body, or body and mind, involved in any particular movement. And then back the other way. Rest your hands, easing forwards and push back. Turn just a little. And then in the other direction. And around. If you place your fingers just here where there's this little kind of valley where your torso meets your legs, we feel a similar kind of movement deep in there. Again, it's very subtle, but again, the idea is to draw your attention away from focusing entirely on the bigger movements. Well, just to get a sense for the very subtle changes in this inner landscape of the body. Or even at your sides here, and you can feel little movements there. It's quite fascinating, really, after a while. Go back in the other direction. And then changing, put your knee up and push out. And then on the other side. So put your hands down and let's do what we did last time, which is just do a kind of pre-exercise for fisherman cast a net, forgot the name of it then, and combining this movement that we did earlier with the transfer of the weight. So you start with your weight back, hands slightly behind, you go forwards, and at the same time make this rolling movement with your arms. So a major source of movement of energy is going to be the movement of your weight, but that should always be supplemented by other little movements. So as we go forwards, obviously your body's moving forwards, the back's moving forwards, so your arms are moving forwards. But it's just a little bit of input from this movement here that I described earlier, and other things, no doubt. So then, when you come back this time, turn your hands in. Because your arms are behind, there's still the opening in your chest. As you arrive in your feet, so there's that contraction in the chest, and that's part of what will help to bring your hands forwards of your knees. It's not a strain in your shoulders, not a strain in your arms. Just feel the quality of the movement that starts to come through. And then coming over. I've mentioned before about, about this idea of different pathways of movement, different resonances from one movement to another. And those smaller movements are the components of those pathways. So all these different ideas link together. We don't want to dwell on those things too much. Having noted them, you remember that, the overall movement, the images of the movement, and occasionally just an awareness of these smaller changes will surface in your awareness. Now changing, excuse me, pigeon spreads its wings. And pushing a wave. And then hands fisted. Turning your hands out. Good, and then bring your hands around, push it up. One more time. And then changing. And change. Let your hands come down to your sides. Dragon plucks the stars from the sky. or more on each side. Okay, and then both hands together. The lengthening and then the broadening of your back, sides. Gentle sort of massaging sense of what's going on within your body. And this time, add in the turning. See if you can remember that little bit of movement around your hips. Let's do one more. Extend one foot. Scooping the sea and looking at the sky. and grasping the tiger's ears. Change sides. And grasping the tiger's ears. Now, transferring your weight and the turn one direction and then back, and then the other direction and back. So again, we have a situation where there's two movements that we want to make sure that don't, if you like, interfere with each other. There's forward and backward movement, and then the rotation. Now they really are performed by the same part of the body. And if either is done incorrectly, and part of that could be just doing it too much, then what we get is a kind of tightening. It's like the pathways are twisting around each other. Pay close attention to the feelings that you're getting, because that feedback from your body is really valuable to pick up when that tightening starts to take place. There's two things to really think about in terms of making corrections. One is make sure that you really are focused in that center part of your body, even when you're moving your arms as well. The other is to make sure that you're not moving too much, either too far out, turning too far, or going too far forwards. And then hitting the ball in front of the shoulder. One more on each side. Turn your hands in so they're holding the ball. And then change direction. Then change it to horizontal movement as though the ball were beneath your hands. And go back the other way. And then the exercise stirring the beans, where we basically do one hand extending out as the other draws back. So we alternate from side to side. Where it goes forwards and back, forwards and back. Here when I go forwards, my right hand is extending out and I'm going into my left leg. And back, and I turn towards my right leg and that draws my left hand around. Meanwhile, my right hand is still moving. Let's do one more on each side. And rest. So that can be a tricky movement, and like all the more complex movements, really we should use them as an encouragement to focus inwardly more deeply. You start thinking, well, what's the hand do? What's that hand do when it's behind there, and so on and so forth. It's too baffling. If you're focused on, for instance, these movements here, we found here there was this. If you see what I mean, you get that, and then it's just we keep the focus of our attention there, And in a way, it's a way of not interfering with the body doing something that actually, although it looks complex, is quite simple. So that's not an easy process, but it is a very effective process. And it's not necessarily about being perfect at the exercises, which personally I always think is just as well, because I think we'd all be in trouble if that was what was required. It's more about this sense of drawing in and constantly reinforcing the idea that when we move, everything moves. Our mind is involved, our legs, our hip back, our arms. So it just becomes part of the way we move. I want you to get to a point where if somebody said to you, lift your hand up without doing anything else in the rest of your body, you'd go, hold on, I can't do that. Your hand would be stuck because you trained yourself to use more than just one part of the body the whole time. And that's where we start to get these lovely fluid movements that we're so familiar with in Tai Chi. It's not because I've done something special with my arm, it's because I've done almost nothing with my arm. And so the arm is free to move in that very fluid and relaxed way. So rub your hands together again. Tapping over your face. Over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder. And you up. The other side. Up past your chest. Your belly. And then your legs. Good. Stand carefully. And let's start with the exercise, swaying in the river. It's a very simple exercise to remember. And it has a great deal going on beneath the surface. And so it's a good exercise. It doesn't take, you don't have to put a lot of effort and think, oh, what did you do next? It's very straightforward. It's a nice image as well that goes with it. Just feeling the changes in your body, feeling how your body responds to that change in angle. And there's usually more than one way it might respond, and so we're looking for a way that enables us to remain stable and soft. And then sinking down. Wild goose. And parting the clouds. One more time. Foot forwards. Transferring your weight. And then raising your toes and your heel. Stepping in. Good. Change sides. Raising your toes and your heel. And stepping in. one very important reason for this sort of shift of our attention into the smaller movements is that without that, we do tend to gravitate to moving the arms a lot. Now, some of the movements that we do are quite tricky, and I'm thinking, you know, when we do the dragonfly skims the water, for instance. So if I do this, if I go onto my left leg and I raise my right leg, at the moment, my shoulders and my arms are quite relaxed. But watch what happens when, watch what happens when I stiffen them up. I fall over. So if I put too much effort into lifting my arms or moving them around, I make myself top heavy. It raises my center of gravity, and I lose the root. So what we're going to do is we'll do basically 3 movements with the movement of the weight. One is the standing version of this one that we did in the chair earlier. So we get used to the feeling of both the weight moving, but also, and I'm thinking specifically about this movement here, but maybe other movements that you notice as well. So don't restrict yourself to just what I'm pointing out. From that, we'll go into fisherman cast a net as we did in the chair. And from fisherman cast a net, we'll go into wind blows the willows, and then dragonfly skims the water. I'm not saying that the movements from one to another are exactly the same, but the awareness of what's going on in the body and the direction of the focus of your attention from inside to outside can make a difference. So I'm going to do it with my back to you because then it'll be easier to follow through wind blows the willows. Start on your back foot, hands down slightly behind your hips, palms forwards. So you go forwards and back. Now, turn your hands back and change to fisherman cast a net. And then wind blows the willows. Raising your toes and your heel. And if it's comfortable, just a couple of times, taking a step in. Good. And then on the other side, so hands slightly behind your hips, and the closing of your chest, helping to roll them forwards. Still your weight moving, of course. And fisherman cast the net. And wind blows the willows. Raising heels and toes. Till you feel, if you feel comfortable, and then see, you can take the step in. And bring your feet back. Go back to your chairs. So we become very aware of movements within the body, just as a musician becomes very aware of different instruments and so on and so forth. Quite often get people saying, Margaret was saying about the tennis, quite often find myself and I find other people will often say, you know, they were watching the athletics or something like that. You start to see it in different ways. And that comes from that understanding of our body. So remember, I'm away for a couple of weeks, but there will be a couple of things come through by email. There's going to be some stuff go up on YouTube. So you can do, you know, just little sessions that you can do to keep in touch if you get a chance. We'll be starting up again on the 21st of September. So until then, embrace tiger, return to mountain. One more time. And rest. Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?